Hey guys, Trevor here from SpineWise, and today I want to talk to you about the winter blues and what you can do to overcome it and potentially get through this winter a little bit easier than winter's gone by. If you're loving our material, please like and share our content. It's the easiest way that you can help us get information out and perhaps even help someone you know get through things a bit easier as well. All right, so let's talk about how this works. And before we do, we need to talk a little bit about the human brain and how the brain works so that you can understand what we're going to give you. But there's a couple of key things we need to look at when we start talking about mental health in any way, shape or form. The two key areas we want to talk about is this area here called our limbic system, which is our emotional centers, and our frontal lobes out the front here, which is more like our rationality centers. And the emotional centers are things that give you the fear. They're the things that make you upset, that make you teary, that make you happy. This comes from these areas here. And they're constantly being dampened and controlled by our frontal lobes. And we have two of these, one on either side of the brain. Our left one behaves more like our dad, and it's more about trying to motivate you and get you moving through life, get you off the bum and rewarding you when you succeed things. Where our right one is more like our mums, where we kind of spend more of time sort of telling you everything's going to be okay and comforting you and making sure you're fine. When we start talking about mental health issues, really what we're talking about is an imbalance in these areas. And quite often your emotional centers are getting driven up and your frontal lobes start crashing down. And there's tons of different things that can cause this. We know, for instance, that estrogen drives our emotional centers, which is why so many women tend to get teary right before their period as well. But what we really want to talk about today is the frontal lobe, because these are the things that really get influenced by weather changes, especially our seasonal affective disorder, which is really important. So when we look at our frontal lobes, there are two main what we call neuromodulators that regulate that. The first is one you've probably heard of, which is known as serotonin. And the second one is one you may not have heard of, which is known as dopamine. And how they basically work in unison, they help regulate that frontal lobe action with a couple of other key neurotransmitters and neuromodulators. The main one we want to talk about today, though, is this one called serotonin. So serotonin is our joy hormone. Probably runs on the right frontal lobe, but it's all about joy. It's about being happy. It's about being excited about everything that is in life. It's a thing that makes you feel great on a blue day is serotonin. And this is what gives it away. So what we really see is that serotonin is the joy in life. When we start losing serotonin, we start losing joy, and that gives us the sads. And why this is so relevant to weather is that the small area in this area of your brain here called your raphe nucleus, and that dorsal raphe nucleus actually stimulates the production of serotonin. And that is stimulated by blue light. Especially when we start having blue, bright, sunny days, this is what we start releasing serotonin like crazy, which helps improve our frontal lobe, which helps control our emotional states, and in turn helps provide more joy to our life. So what do we do if we're in an area such as Melbourne that tends to get dark for a fair percentage of our winter? So there's a few key things you can do to help regulate that. So the first thing we know is that serotonin is actually derived from a protein or an amino acid known as tryptophan. So making sure we keep our protein intake up and getting enough protein over those darker months is really important. But also nutrients such as zinc, magnesium and B6 are critical in the production of serotonin. So we want to make sure that we're not deficient in any of those things. Being deficient in those really does make a big difference. The really important one is zinc. We want to make sure that our zinc levels are good, and we'll do a specific video. I'll do a specific video for you on zinc and the mechanisms around that. Next one is that the movement of tryptophan into the brain to produce serotonin is controlled by glucose. So insulin resistance can play a big part in that. So we want to make sure we keep our insulin resistance down. For most people, that means moving towards a high-fat, low-carb diet, or at least reducing the amount of carbohydrate and controlling the GI value of your carbohydrates better to help control insulin resistance. An interesting one is burning vanilla. So talking about proper vanilla, not vanilla fragrance, but proper vanilla in the house, smelling it through the olfactory nerve can in some people help improve their serotonin counts. Not a lot of research in it, but it has been suggested that works quite well. I've seen a lot of patients get a lot of benefit over the years by burning vanilla in their house. So that's one thing you can look at as well. Exercise. Really, really critical, okay? I know it's going to get cold, I know it gets wet, I know there's dark mornings where you just don't want to do anything, but these are the mornings that you need to get out. We need the exercise to stimulate both growth hormone and brain-derived neurotrophic factor and a whole lot of other things. And even doing simple things, yeah, like little simple things like make sure you get out of bed and make your bed. Something as simple as that. It's already one thing you can achieve first thing in the morning. Go out and do a run of some sort, whether it be low intensity, high intensity at this stage is not important. Just going out and doing something, you're already going to achieve something and you're already starting to get a serotonin and dopamine elevation just because you've achieved something first thing in the morning. So really important, get out and do some exercise. The herb St. John's wort clears the liver out, does a whole lot of other things. One of the things it does do is also regulate serotonin function. Saffron also helps elevate serotonin, works really, really well. Very, very low doses of saffron work incredibly well. And the herb rhodiola can actually help control the emotional centers, control the way estrogen influences some of this area within the limbic system. So a really good anti-anxiety herb as well. A couple of other big things that are really important, light. Most of us, as our modern day housing has evolved throughout Melbourne and throughout Australia, most of our houses are starting to get somewhat dark. We need to brighten them up, let the light shine right through, get as much light into as you possibly can throughout the day, and then darken them down at night. Even spending time outside, really, really critical. Goals. You need to make sure that you are working towards something. And I'm not talking about the throwaway stuff that you hear from motivational speakers. I mean, you need to have a reason to get up every morning. You need to have something that you're working towards. You need to have something that you're trying to achieve. These things are really, really critical. If you don't have a reason to get up in the morning and it's a dark morning, you won't want to get out of bed and your chance of having a happy day is drastically reduced. So we need to make sure that we've got things we want to achieve. And the other interesting thing is cacao, little humble chocolate, dark chocolate, but especially what we're talking about is cacao itself, cacao nibs. There's some oil in there that kind of activates like a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, which can help elevate your dopamine levels and make you feel better about yourself as well. If it's going to be a dark day, having some in a little bowl on your coffee table or something, you walk by and just eat a few, can help elevate. It's not a stimulant, won't get you sky high, but it will generally just slowly elevate your dopamine count and make you feel a little bit better about yourself as well. Anyway guys, so that's a couple of quick simple things that you can do to help try and get yourself through winter. There are very specific things to very specific situations, so if you have a situation where you know you have a certain experience in a certain way, just message me, always happy to help out. Remember, a lot of these things when we start playing around with brain hormones can be dangerous, so you want to make sure that you're doing this under supervision or at least you're having someone check you. Some of these herbs as well and supplements can interact with other medications and you need to be well aware of it. So please don't do anything significant without getting some good advice in your situation. If you don't have anyone to ask, please just message me. Always happy to help you in any way, shape, or form I can. Right, thanks for watching this far, guys, and we'll catch up in the next vid. Bye for now.